Good evening, everybody. It was supposed to be good morning, but it became a good evening. Actually, it's still going to be a good morning because by the time I post this, Steve, it's
Mhm.
going to be Monday, January, Tuesday. My God, Woodcock, get this shit right. We may have to start this all over again. We're not doing a third take, Steve Hunt. It's Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, and you are watching or listening to another edition of Forward Maryland. My name is Bill Woodcock.
And I'm Steve, user error. Damn, I need tech support hunt from yesterday. Wow.
For those of you who were not around, well, who don't know, which would be all of you, because we were recording yesterday, we crashed right smack dab 20 minutes into the podcast. It was impossible to resave it. We were scuttled. So we are
Mhm.
back now. It is currently Monday evening as we're recording this. This will be posted on Tuesday morning. And for those of you who are listening, you cannot see, but my choice of Zoom background tonight is in celebration of both the first day of spring and also crossover day for the Maryland General Assembly. It is downtown Annapolis, taken 2 weeks ago by yours truly. A lovely shot of the full moon, almost at the tip of the weather vane of the State House, with the church right next door. Steve, describe for the good people the glory that you see behold in front of you.
It is Annapolis at not quite totally at night. It looks like there's still a little bit of light outside, but you're right. Looks like a couple of buildings. I see the State House. I don't know if this is a church or not next to it. I see something on top of that. And
It
then I
is a church,
see,
Steve. It is a
okay,
church.
it is a lovely spring view, like you said, in line with our theme, but also in line with I believe our first topic, or our pithy subject as we call it. I believe there is a flag of Ireland in the corner. Is that what I'm seeing below the U.S. flag?
Oh, Steve, now I've got it. Now I've got to switch up here. Let me see. Whoa, where'd I go? Yes, yes, there is a flag of Ireland down there because, well, it wasn't St. Patrick's Day, but I guess this was St. Patrick's Day was nigh. Steve, I hate St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to try to not say anything about it tonight. I went too far off on it today or yesterday. I think that's why. I think that's why we crashed. Actually, I think we crashed because I mentioned the national security complex, which I'm going to do again in about 15 minutes. But what about your St. Patrick's Day? Anything you care to share?
No, it was quiet. It was a Friday, so it was work. Baseball scrimmage with my son, who, by the way, was named the starting pitcher for his JV team. So he will be the opening day starter for his high school. So that's pretty cool. And then home and watching the NCAA tournament. Um, I'm with you on St. Patrick's Day. I last had real interest in St. Patrick's Day when I was in college, where any excuse to drink was a good thing. But even as a 20 something, me and my friends referred to St. Patrick's Day as amateur night out, because it was for all the wannabe power drinkers to get out and do what they do, and we just wanted to let them have it, and we could take back over after the amateurs were at their toilets losing whatever it is they consumed that day. Um, and I did mention this Sunday, so I will mention it again. Last week you had St. Patrick's Day 317. You had the Ides of March 315. The most important day, of course, is the one in between, and that is March the 16th, or as we say in the wrestling world, 316. And that's the bomb.
That would be Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, ladies and gentlemen. And we all know what 316 says, Steve. What does Austin 316 say? We
Austin,
just kicked your ass.
that's right.
and, and which leads us beautifully. Oh, and by the way, 317 is also St. Gertrude's Day, patron saint of cats. From now on, it's patron saint of cats for me.
There
But
you go.
going back to 316, oh, and we also forgot to mention Pi Day for all
Ah,
the geeks out there.
there you go.
March 14th. Anyway, for the third time, back to 316 day. Stone Cold just whipped your ass could be what's about to get said to soon to be indicted, twice impeached, twice defeated. No, well, yeah, once defeated. Former 61-time election challenge defeated Donald J. Trump as he faces indictment in New York and in other places soon to come for the indictment tour. The indictment tour is going to feature mugshots, Steve. I expect the mugshots to break the internet as soon as they come out, which could be as soon as tomorrow. For some reason, Trump thinks he's going to get arrested tomorrow. No idea why he thinks that. But anyway, I mean, hey, if someone just wants to come to arrest Trump, that's fine. And we'll talk about another world leader who has a warrant out for his arrest in a few minutes. But Steve, it looks like the circle of jurisprudence is tightening around our beloved former leader. What are your thoughts as the nation approaches this most dreaded hour?
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that, and yeah, to your point about mugshots, if you think just because he's a former president, they're going to try to keep that on lock and it's not going to get leaked by somebody, yeah, no, we will
They're
all see
public.
them.
Mugshots are public.
But those suckers are going to get circulated no matter how hard they try to say, well, let's try not to release them because of respect for the former president of the United States. Oh, hell no. Like you said, they're public anyway, and they would get out regardless. As far as the indictment, there are a couple of interesting things there. Number one, as most legal scholars that I follow and listen to and read about, this is probably the weakest of the four cases. This is the hush money to Stormy Daniels to cover up an extramarital affair, although that might be doing justice to the words extramarital affair. It was pretty much a one-nighter by all accounts. But, if you look at the other ones, the Mar-a-Lago classified documents, January 6th, the Georgia election interference case, this one, it'll be a hard case to get all the way to a guilty charge. If you do, it right now is a misdemeanor unless the DA in New York, Alvin Bragg, has something that can turn it into a felony charge. So, I can't get overly excited about this. Quite frankly, this really has more political ramifications than legal, because the losers in all of this are the Republicans, and those Republicans who wish to dethrone the Orange God King as the standard bearer of their party, because Donald Trump does believe in that old saying, the only bad publicity is no publicity. If you think about this weekend, he sucked all the oxygen out of the room, and everybody else is being asked questions about Donald Trump. And, there's a real irony there, and I won't go on any further because, like I said, there's a lot to get into, and I want to, turn over the mic real quick here. But I find it interesting that the party who wanted to lock up Hillary Clinton over an email server, who wanted Bill Clinton impeached at the very least, at most put in jail for lying about an extramarital affair, are now circling the wagons around this guy and talking about two systems of justice. I love that one where they're saying there are two systems of justice in the country. Y'all motherfuckers weren't saying that when Black Lives Matter was talking about the very thing about two systems of justice. Oh, now there are two systems of justice, Kevin McCarthy. Shut up. And with that, Bill, I'm going to turn it over because I don't want to go any further because I could go for a while here.
Was it BLM or Antifa, Steve? I wonder if it wasn't Antifa that was involved. Anyway, my tongue was firmly implanted in cheek when I said gloomy times for our nation, these desperate hours. I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for him to be indicted. I cannot wait for him to be arraigned. I cannot wait for the holding, however brief it might be. I cannot wait for the mugshots. I'm here for all of it. And he's done nothing but to make this more entertaining for me, but to tell his 30% of the Republican Party miscreant fan club to go out and protest. Oh, but do it peacefully. Wow. Where have we heard this before? Was it about 2 years and 2.5 months ago? Sounds like it to me. So, wow. Let's just dig ourselves a deeper hole. Steve, the unfortunate part about this is, and it's not unfortunate that I agree with you, but the unfortunate part about this is that indeed, this kind of indicting Trump, as I bob about downtown Annapolis like the rape-like figure I am, is that he's going to get nominated again.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, he was probably going to get nominated anyway.
Yeah.
And Ron DeSantis had a little comment about, well, I don't know. I've been asked to talk about Trump, but I don't really know anything about paying hush money to a porn actress, so I don't know. And of course, you're right. I believe it was the one encounter, although he really, I mean. To use another jurisprudence term, if I remember correctly from what Michael Cohen said, I believe Donald Trump failed to appear for that encounter, if you get my meaning. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't. You still have to pay the mechanic if you drive out of the shop and the car's still broken. So if it doesn't work, you still got to pay. Anyway,
real quick though, I will say that you're right about that. If and people have said that Ron DeSantis is a lightweight deep down the glass jaw, and if that line is the best he's got to go after Trump, stay in Florida, bro. You ain't ready.
Yeah, that was slightly weak. So Trump's going to win the nomination. I thought he was going to win it anyway, and I think what this is just going to do is turn up the volume a little bit. But there are going to be 3 or 4 indictments within the next few months. I think we can weather this. I think we have plenty of other things to deal with as a nation than this guy whining. And that's all he does. He whines, he cries, he goes off like a little bitch. He doesn't, and he winds up having play with people. And I'll never, I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, I'll never understand it. And I just think we probably need to do, I mean, the person he reminds me of in Howard County, relating this to local politics, is a friend of yours from North Laurel, Beebe. I mean, Beebe just goes off and makes claims and just says things. They're going to put speed bumps on that windy, twisty road in Jessup by the school, and somebody should sue the county and come to this meeting whenever that meeting is. And people just, they look at Beebe and they say, thanks, Beebe. And, they just kind of pay Beebe no mind. But we should treat Donald Trump like the people in Jessup treat Beebe. But they don't. And so Beebe goes on unabated, and so Trump goes on unabated, or actually Beebe goes on abated. So yeah. So be more like Beebe, be less like Trump. Just ignore the fool. I got nothing else I could say on Trump. It's just comical. It's a clown show. It's a clown show that has gone on for how long was it since Obama talked about him at that White House correspondence dinner? It's been like, what, 10 years?
It was like 2011 or 2012, but yeah, it's been, I think it might be even more than that, but yeah, to your point.
Yeah, which was apparently, if you believe PBS, the time that Trump decided he was going to seriously get into national politics, as opposed to just using it as a sounding board and, as a way to get media attention. So, yeah, we need to be done with that entire foolish family and his entire movement and his entire cronies. I mean, how much more do we need of Stephen Miller Kayleigh McEnany, Rudy, Peter Navarro, that little crowd of third-rate Bond villains who they wouldn't even be Matt Helm villains. If you remember the Matt Helm movies
Yep.
from the late 60s starring Dean Martin. I almost
Yep.
said starring Steve Martin. They would have been much better had they.
Yeah.
But
Or even a Flint movie if you want to go 60s with my man
James
James Coburn.
Coburn. James
That's right.
Coburn was going with his ivory white pants. I mean,
Hell
bleachers
yeah.
suit. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Derek Flint. Anyway, be more like Derek Flint. Be more like Bibi. Be less like Trump. That's my advice for people tonight. No,
Yeah.
I haven't been drinking.
Same. And Bill, to try to make a serious point here, but I'm still lost in the Flint movies because they were kind of funny. But you know, for getting over Trump, getting past Trump, moving on from Trump. uh, That's the problem for the Republican Party. I mean, how many more chances are they going to get and not take advantage of to dump this fool? I mean, they've had chance after chance for the last decade to be over this guy. And if you hear some of their leaders, like your McCarthy's and others, they just can't let him go. They can't. And that really is the problem because Trump gonna Trump. It's this political party that enables this SOB is the real problem.
I'm just going to put this out there, and then I think we should move on.
Mm-hmm.
He is still 4 years younger than Joe Biden. I mean, and he's so angry, he will probably outlive both of us, Steve. He'll probably live to be 150. I mean, could it be? I mean, I thought that maybe it would be after this election cycle, but could it be Trump 2028? I'm just putting that out there. If there is no Trump, if Trump 24, when it is not successful, could we see Trump 28? Anyway,
I wish I could write it off, but I can't.
While we're talking autocratic dictators, China's President Xi landed in Moscow today for high-level discussions with local hero and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Supposedly, an alliance is forming, an alliance of convenience, an alliance of which most national security officials of any credibility and repute say that Russia is the minor partner in this, and that Xi is seeing what China can gain out of an alliance with Russia or some sort of partnership in Russia to somehow support Russia in their ongoing war with the Ukraine. Steve, does the bear plus the dragon spell bad news for the eagle? And while we're at it, the lion and the whole rest of the Western Alliance.
Well, it's less of a bear and more of a bear cub at this point, quite frankly, because he is, quite frankly, a child. And convenience is the exact word to describe it from the view of Beijing, China. I don't think they have any respect for Putin. I don't think Xi has any respect for Putin. I think if you got Xi and his crew in a room and pumped them full of some truth serum or something like that and asked them about Vladimir Putin, I believe the words "useful idiot" would come to their lips very, very quickly. I think China views Russia. I mean, I'm sure there are some other reasons why they find this a true convenience, but I think their biggest need for Russia is as a distraction. Um, they see what's going on in Europe with NATO being stronger, and now Turkey's backed off from their objection to, I think it was Sweden, but it looks like Sweden and Finland will be in NATO by the summer, which ironically is Vladimir Putin's greatest achievements in terms of this war with Ukraine, is that he not only brought NATO together, but he got two countries that have been saying no for 50 years or something or another. So she sees all that, and he sees what the U.S. under Biden and his team are doing in Asia with Japan, Australia, New Zealand, now the Philippines. I think recently, Harris, Vice President Harris, visited Vietnam. So I think she sees Russia as, let's prop them up just enough so that they can continue to, raise mayhem, on the Eastern Europe frontier, and keep all the attention off of what we really want to do, in the Pacific, and maybe we can drain the resources of the U.S. and their allies, like you said, going after the eagle that way. So to them, it's transactional. To Putin, it's desperation. He got no friends. He's running out of arms. Iran, I know, gave him drones, but there's only so many of those. What he really wants are arms, and I don't think China's going to go there yet as far as giving military arms to Russia. But Vladimir needs a friend. He's losing badly. It's an embarrassment. He tried to do this macho, I'm going to visit Mariupol a couple of days ago. He did it under cover of night, unlike Biden, who was walking in broad daylight with, air raid sirens going off, and he's just strutting through like Mr. McMahon, if you want to go wrestling, and like, yeah, come and get it. Putin sneaks in, sneaks out. So for China, it's convenience. For Russia, it's desperation. Putin needs something.
We've dropped two. We have a lot of twos in this.
Yes.
So we've already dropped two wrestling references. I'm going to drop a
WrestleMania
second.
Coming up soon.
I'm going to drop a second Ron DeSantis reference, because Ron DeSantis said what only the most idiotic individuals involved in national security who I'm aware of say, which is that Ukraine is not a significant military interest to the United States, which I believe is truly a foolish comment. And I'm going to go with another second, because as autocratic and just wanting to use things for their own purposes is a way in which Xi is very much like North Laurel's BB, trying to sue, possibly even go to the International Criminal Court against Calvin Ball and Christiana Mercer Rigby for putting speed bumps down on that road near where the new high school's going. First off, we don't even know if these speed bumps are going to happen. And then secondly, why is BB opposed to them? We don't know. It's just all pure speculation. And so BB's gone, she's reading from Xi. She's taken a book out of Xi's playbook and just using the county's resources while just unapologetically, wasting them away like some sort of parasite, like a tapeworm, Steve. So that's what I'm gathering out of this, is that China's basically looking at Russia as a means of capital. That's really what it is. And Russia ain't got that much capital. But what does China love to do? Economically, what do they love to do? They have a lot of ours.
Tell us, Bill.
It's not Kardashian, Steve. It is debt. They love to hold debt. Mm-hmm. So I will actually slightly disagree, because I believe that China would be willing to do anything for Russia for a price. So whereas I would agree that they may not be willing to go there in a strategic military partnership sense, they're not going to form an Eastern version of NATO. China doesn't want any part of that, not when they have superiority or perceived superiority in the Western Pacific. And that's where they want to fight their war, if they ever fight one at all. Mm-hmm. But they will certainly bankroll Russia. And Russia's not in that great a shape economically. There's lots of speculation about whether they're in that great a shape politically with Putin. If Xi thinks that there's a deal to be made there by propping Putin up, keeping him in office, and then buying, selling them many billions of dollars worth of Chinese armament, they'll go there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they are. they play chess while others play checkers. I mean, you look at the deal they just cut. Well, the peace deal they negotiated with Iran and Saudi Arabia. I'm sure they did that to position themselves to tap into the oil of the Middle East even deeper. Russia obviously has natural resources, so there could be some of that. But you're right. I would be shocked if they did, but I wouldn't be bowled over if they provided arms. I just find it hard to believe that they would want to. I don't think they really want to piss off the West. I don't think they mind tweaking them a little bit or poking them a little bit and showing them, hey, we're just as bad or not badder than you are. But I just find it hard to believe they'd want to go there. And to your comment about DeSantis and others, Ron DeSantis. He's an idiot. Again, it just shows that he's not ready for the big stage. Stick to, going after wokeness, whatever the hell that is. Stick to going after Disney and hotel chains and people who, don't bend to your will. Just stick to Florida politics. You clearly are not ready for the big. You're less ready for this than Donald Trump. And he's the biggest idiot I've ever seen on the international stage. And DeSantis is like, hold my beer. And I could take it even further and be dumber. So
yeah. I mean, I would agree with you in that. I think as it stands today, I think China is just kind of kicking tires, and they want to be seen as being a troublemaker, but they're not really going to make any trouble yet.
Yeah.
Give it another 6 months or so, and it's maybe the weather starts getting colder. We get into October and November, and the war's still going on, and Russia's still getting its clock cleaned. And then let's see what happens.
Yep.
Anyway, lines in the sand. Makes me think about negotiations, Steve. And that brings us to our third and much lighter topic, a topic that's almost talked about in the same tones as we talk about matters of global geopolitical importance, the NFL offseason. Steve, the two greatest stories of the NFL offseason are arguably, and I don't think it's much of an argument, and we're not even going to talk about the first one tonight, and that would be the impending trade of Aaron Rodgers straight out of his 4-day darkness retreat, and having seen the light in the darkness and realizing that he wants to play football still and play it for the New York Jets. So whatever many years, 15 years after Brett Favre took his talents from Green Bay to New York, it would seem that Aaron Rodgers wants to do the same thing. But the big thing is, and we're all okay about Aaron Rodgers being all wackadoodle and doing what he wants to do, or at least the media is okay with it, because Aaron Rodgers is white. But however, Lamar Jackson, who we know is black, and the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, wants to negotiate his own contract, does not want to sign a contract which he believes is below his market value, having turned down a 3-year contract at $44 million a year, all guaranteed. Last year, prior to the start of last season, the Ravens have put their franchise tag on him for 32.5 million. It was the lower of the two tags, and I'm not going to get into all the whys and wherefores because it's not that important. But this tag that was put on him would allow for another team to trade for him if they signed him to a contract, and then the Ravens would have 7 days to match the offer. Steve, this has gotten so much play in the sports world over the past 2 months and off and on over the past couple years, but people are bemoaning Jackson doesn't have an agent. He's asking for too much money. The quarterback market was expanded and was blown out of proportion when the guy with Cleveland, who was the Houston quarterback, who also had the 24 sexual assault allegations against him, got $46 million a year for 5 years guaranteed. And incidentally, why do we not talk about that? Why do we not talk about somebody with 24 sexual assault allegations against them gets a guaranteed 5-year contract for
Mhm.
$230 million to throw a football? Why are we not angry about that as a society? I have no friggin' idea. But anyway, Steve, we are sports fans. We are both Ravens fans. The fans of this show know we talk about football and the Ravens from time to time. What do you make with this mess about number 8?
Well, a couple of things, Bill. First of all, everybody talking about that he doesn't have an agent and that's where everything is screwed up. You need to get past that because number one, speaking of the Ravens, Roquan Smith renegotiated his deal after the trade of the Ravens, $100 million. I think it's the richest contract for a linebacker ever. Roquan Smith doesn't have an agent. And recently, I think it's Jeremy Tunsil. I might be pronouncing it wrong. For the
Laramie
Houston,
Tunsil.
Larry Tunsil, thank you. Just negotiated a contract and by a couple of days up the ante in terms of the highest paid contract ever for an offensive lineman. He doesn't have an agent. So the I know agents want to make that narrative out there. That's not a thing. Uh, to really just cut to the chase here, Bill, there are people trying to take sides. Who's getting screwed? The Ravens, Lamar, the Ravens. My answer to that is both. I personally believe that Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, are pawns in a proxy war between the NFL Players Association and the NFL owners because you have the Players Association because they can't negotiate your contract, but they do give advice, quote unquote, to players who don't have an agent. And basically, DeMaurice Smith, who's the head, said, we do everything that an agent does short of negotiating. And they have been chirping in Lamar's ear. You got to go past Deshaun Watson, fully guaranteed, 240, 250. You have to beat Deshaun Watson's deal in terms of guarantee, full guarantee. Why? Because the Players Association wants to set that market. And oh, by the way, there are 4 quarterbacks who are teed up right behind Lamar, and that would be Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, Joe Burrow of the Bengals, Justin Herbert of the Chargers, and maybe if you could throw in Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars. If you don't think they're watching this because whatever the market is, they get to jump on it behind him. Yeah, they're watching it too. Meanwhile, you have the owners saying, look, to your point, Bill, about, we should be mad about Deshaun's contract in light of the allegations, in light of the fact that he really hadn't won anything in Houston, quite frankly, if you want to go into sports. You have the owners saying, look, Cleveland are a bunch of idiots. They made this deal. They blew up their team. They still suck. And they have mortgaged, they gave up like 86 draft picks and damn near $250 million to this guy. Don't do that, Ravens. Don't set the market there because then we're all screwed. And anybody who has half a decent season is going to just blow us all to hell. That's what I think is going on here. And again, it's screw the Ravens because for all the belly aching about the Ravens aren't making any offseason moves, they can't because they don't know what's going to happen with Lamar and how much money is going to be left for them to do a darn thing under the salary cap. So it screws the Ravens. It screws Lamar. And for those people who say, well, he still makes $32.5 million. So what's so horrible about that? 1-year deal. Do you know what can happen in 1 year? If you don't, call Robert Griffin III and ask him what can happen in 1 year. That guy is doing well now. I love him at ESPN in the booth. He's a great analyst, but he probably lost hundreds of millions of dollars because as a rookie, blew up his knee and was effectively done. He was going to be Lamar before Lamar. And ultimately, because that became an NFL journeyman and retired by age, 30, 31, whatever he is when he retired. So both sides are screwed because of this proxy war. I wish they would somehow find a way to say, screw the owners, screw the Players Association. Let's get in a room, hash out the best deal, the fairest deal we can for the team, for the player, and tell everybody, kiss our behinds, we'll see you in the Super Bowl. That's what I wish would happen, but it's not, at least to this point.
Yeah, there's a bunch of social media clowns who think that, Lamar's done with the Ravens. The only possible team Lamar Jackson could play for this year is the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They will have the cap space. they will have. They are the only team who will have the wherewithal to sign him, and no, maybe just as importantly, if not more importantly, no other team will be able to compensate the Ravens should they sign him away. They either don't have the 45 to 50 million dollars in salary cap space, and or they don't have the 2 first round draft picks that the Ravens would require as compensation, and or they don't have a problem or they with a starting quarterback, especially with the NFL draft coming up next month and it being very heavy in quarterbacks. I mean, you can think about the Houston Texans as a place for Lamar to go, except they're number 2. They're going to get their pick of every player coming out of college except one.
Yep.
And there's going to be some great quarterbacks in there. The Indianapolis Colts are at number 4. Again, there's at least 5 very good quarterbacks in there. Plus, they don't have the salary cap space. So stop it, all you weirdos who are talking about Lamar's going to be traded. There's no place to trade him to. There's no place where he's going to go. He's either going to play for 32.5, he's going to hold out, or he's going to sign a long-term contract. And what I'm thinking, 4 years, $180 million, and then incentives and escalators that can get it up to about 240 to 250. That is where I'm thinking this is going to land. So Rodgers has a 5-year, $250 million contract. He's won 4 MVPs in a Super Bowl, and he's a nut. So, so if you use that as the guideline, not Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a jabroni, very talented athlete, human jabroni, and as he showed with Houston, he's a jabroni on the field as well. So I would say Lamar's contract, 4 years, $45 million per, incentives for additional MVPs, playoff and Super Bowl success, get you up to 240, 250. So he gets, he has the richest contract, and he has the second richest in terms of guaranteed money in the 103-year history of the National Football League. And Steve, this makes me think, when you think about somebody like a Deshaun Watson, who, they're getting paid off of, overpaid, certainly overregarded, and certainly Cleveland does suck, and Cleveland does make poor management decisions. This reminds me once again of North Laurel's BB. So again, making poor management decisions, taking on Howard County over putting speed bumps on a road by the new school, wanting to go to the International Criminal Court to take warrants out against the likes of Christiana Mercer Rigby and Calvin Ball. Don't they understand they have children? Don't they understand that the International Criminal Court police coming to Columbia would be a spectacle that we don't want? Although we wouldn't even know if it happened because there's no local media to cover it anymore, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty much all they got, and we don't care. So,
By the way, Bill, just a quick number. I looked this up because I thought I'd heard it somewhere, and I just wanted to verify it. Patrick Mahomes has a 10-year, $450 million contract. You know how much of that is guaranteed?
About $100 million.
63.
63. Yeah, that's going to change. Yeah, I
know
that that's going to change soon.
Yeah, but
yeah,
he's
going to. Yeah, he's going to come with his hat in hand soon.
Right.
But he has a big hat because he has that Sideshow Bob haircut.
Right. But at the time he signed it, he had won a Super Bowl, and I think he had been to a second one at that point, or was on his way to one. So his guarantee is less than Josh Allen, less than Kyler Murray, basically less than all the ones that we've been talking about, including, of course, Deshaun Watson.
And
So
I think the salient point here is that the market is all over the place. But if
yeah,
you look at the market just on extremely recent experience,
yes,
Deshaun Watson's the metric. But I would use as more of a talent metric. I would use the Aaron Rodgers metric
yeah,
as opposed to Deshaun Watson. Aaron Rodgers was not wildly successful his first several years in the league.
yep,
Most of the other great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, for example, Joe
yeah,
Montana, were Steve Young, were not
Elway, yeah,
successful until 6, 7 years into the league. And
right,
good Lord, what did John Elway make the Super Bowl in like year 13? I
yeah.
mean, come on now. So I'm more than happy to be a Lamar Jackson supporter. It will be a very, very sad day if he leaves the Ravens. I'm still going to follow the Ravens, of course, but the Ravens are not going to not have him at quarterback because we got no other answer. That's the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say on this matter.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, we have done something with this podcast. We talked about a lot of different things. We haven't even talked about anything going on in the state of Maryland, really. We've talked about no Maryland politics, and we pretend to be a Maryland politics-based podcast. I mean, I'm even in Annapolis. By the way, it's interesting that the light has not changed during this entire time. It's also interesting how I can bounce about. What's
don't know,
not
bro.
interesting is how bad I look. I look like Foghorn. I look like if Foghorn Leghorn was a human.
Hey, Bill, give yourself more credit. You went all in to a certain prominent Marylander.
BB.
By the way, is she in the book?
No. I think I had to take her one reference out of the book. I had to take her reference out. But she did call me the other day wanting me to promote a meeting that they're having with the aforementioned Christiana Mercer Rigby and Deb Young, Howard County Council people, about the aforementioned speed bumps, which I tried to tell her that we don't really talk about like neighborhood stuff on the show.
It's really not speed bumps. Not speed bumps though. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Speed bumps on a road that's just too. That's not us.
There's hyper local.
Hey there, viewer and listener land. Anybody got speed bumps coming they don't want? Talk to Forward Maryland about it, people. We'll bring officials from your local DPW to task.
No.
I don't want to do that. That's not our job.
No. That's not that is not happening. So yeah. I told you speed bumps, kids.
Well, anyway, I said I would mention it. So there you go, Beebs. I'm not sure she'll be very happy with the mention.
Yeah, not sure if she had that in mind, but you know what? You get what you get. You don't get upset.
Yeah, that's right. And the words and the immortal words of, I believe it was Warrant, or perhaps it was Buck Cherry, baby, don't go away mad. Baby, just go away.
Might be Motley Crue. That might be Motley Crue. But whatever it is,
that could be Motley Crue, actually.
I believe that would be Motley Crue, but whoever it is, it's damn good.
Meanwhile, I got the moon on my head, Steve.
Oh, that's a good look, bro.
It is. Anyway, we have beaten this edition to a formless pace. It'll be a long time before we do another Monday night episode, Steve.
Hey, I'm just glad we made it through without any technical difficulties.
I'm glad I mentioned the National Security Industrial Complex, and then neither did the computer go out or guys in dark suits and sunglasses show up at the door.
Yeah,
saying,
let's get out
Mr.
of here.
Woodcock, we'd like you to come with us. So with that, we come to the close, another edition of Forward Maryland. For Steve Hunt, my name is Bill Woodcock. We will come at you again this coming weekend with another edition. Have a great evening, y'all. Have a great day. Have a great week. Take care.